Hello, so great to see you again. It's Judy from Coffee, Cookies, and Books, and this is the intro into my first vlog. So, yeah, as I said, this is vlog number 1, first time ever. So I'll be looking for a lot of feedback from you on this one. Now, I might have done an intro for this. I can't remember if I did or not. If not, then basically I'm wearing the same thing you are going to see at the very end of the video. So, and haven't had my hair cut yet. That's due today too. So, yeah, I'm working in a little bit of rough mode, but I just wanted to get this in. And I want these videos to be a little bit more casual, not too overly planned. As you can see, based on what my books look like, and that's because I've torn apart my shelves and I'm resorting everything and getting a new library reorganization done. And I am videoing this in case you're wondering, so you are going to get that. Anyways, the 3 books that we're going to do in this video are Dissolution by Nicholas Binge, Famous Last Words by Gillian McAllister, and Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. Okay, so those are the 3 that we're going to do. We're going to read. So I would say it's kind of a thriller binge. Thriller binge. It's a thriller video. Yeah, thrillers. And the other one that I'm going to do is going to be sci-fi. That's kind of how I've split up the 2 videos, and we'll see what you think. So I'll be inserting clips, various clips that I've made about my results as I've read through these, and give you my thoughts on them. Now, there will be spoilers, okay? For sure. Now, what I've tried to do is I've tried not to spoil the ending in any of the books. Pretty sure I didn't. If I did, I'm going to actually edit that out. But there's going to be some, probably I would say there's spoilers towards the front half of the book and maybe not so much towards the back half of the books. That probably is a better way to describe it. And that's also how I'm going to try to edit the video. So if you don't want any spoilers at all, then I would say wait until my final monthly review, because then I'll talk about just the books in general. Then I'm going to give a quick synopsis of what I thought of them when the end of the month comes. So if you don't want spoilers, skip and wait till the one at the end of the month. Okay? Okay, so that's it for this, and we're going to get on to reading these 3 books. Hello, everyone. So this is going to be my first update on my first vlog, and yeah, everything's a bit of a mess because I'm in the middle of pulling all my books off the shelves, reorganizing them, putting them into the new home library spreadsheet I have. So, it's all taking time. That's what all this is over here. All of this is the last thing that's going to come down. So, still looks okay at this point. Anyway, enough of that. This is taking me a long time because there's just like so many books. So far, I think I've logged 500 books. Altogether, my guess would be I have anywhere between 600 to 650 books. What is going to be kind of interesting is to see how many I've actually read compared to how many I haven't read. So that's going to be kind of cool to sort of see where I'm at, where that's concerned, because I have never really done a check on that. But yeah, so that's kind of one good thing. This home library spreadsheet, I know I'm getting a little off on tangent, but I thought I would add this in here. This home library spreadsheet that I bought off Etsy is fantastic. Love it so much. I will be giving sort of an overview. I'm going to take a screen recording of all the different elements of the spreadsheet and show that off when I do the home organization, the reorganization bookshelf stuff. When I do that video, which will be at some point in January. So can't wait to share that because I think everybody's going to really love it. I am also going to share the new journal software, which is made by the same people that made the home library. And I will show that because I have already started using it. So it's kind of interesting how all that also falls into place. Really cool, really love it. So anyway, Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. That is the first book that I'm reading in this vlog. And I've read about 30% at this point. And really, I am enjoying it. I am finding it a little slow, but now we're kind of at the point where Cleo is in the house a bit more, and so we'll see where things go from there. But essentially what's happening is we've got these three sisters, and right at the very beginning of the book, Cleo, everything in the book is from Cleo's point of view. She's the youngest of the three sisters, just to be clear on that. And right at the beginning, she gets a call from her sisters that her mother has passed away. She had a heart attack. Cleo is the only one of the three sisters that doesn't remember a lot of what happened in the past, what happened at the house. I mean, essentially, her parents are divorced, and when her parents divorced, her mother bought this house on Edgewater, I think is where it's at. And during the purchase of the house, she moved the girls in there, and she bought the house because it was fairly close to where the father lived. And she didn't have a lot of money, so she bought, I guess, the first thing she could afford that was a good size that she thought would be nice for the girls to live in. And right away, weird shit starts happening in the house. So this is kind of where we're at now. Cleo is the only one to go to the house. The other two girls are not interested in going to the house because they have been left the house by their mother. And Cleo is the only one who has any, she wants to know what's up with the house. She's not afraid of the house. She has a very mature personality, I think, but all of the girls have definitely issues showing their emotions and how they show them and everything like that. So it's interesting to see how the three are. And in this particular book, obviously because it's from Cleo's point of view, I think we get a bit more depth into her, and her being the youngest, I think, is kind of interesting. Yeah, so that's sort of where I'm at. I don't know that I have a lot more to add at this point because we really haven't got into the meat and potatoes. What I'm also, this is my first ever vlog, so I am sort of playing with the idea, do I give spoilers, don't I give spoilers? I think in this particular case, for this vlog, I might do it with spoilers because these are not continuations of books. In my next vlog, my next two books, the other vlog that I'm going to do, they are continuations of series, and it's well into the series. I think it's the third, fourth books in both series, two series. So I'm not sure if I want to do spoilers on it. I think I'd rather do it in a bit more of a casual manner without mentioning too much. So I think that's how I might do this. So expect this vlog to contain some spoilers. At this point, there aren't any because everything that I've told you is pretty much either on the back of the book or at the very beginning of the book. So we'll just kind of go from there. So the one thing I will mention, which is a spoiler, my first one, when she gets to the house, she finds something at the house. And what she finds is a copy of the book that her mother wrote that is about the house, about their experience in the house, which is mentioned early in the book, that her mom wrote this book. The thing is, the three girls have never read this book. It's like they made a promise to their father, I think it was, to never read the book. But this particular copy of the book, Cleo finds in her old bedroom, and it's annotated by her mother. Now, it's only a portion of the book, so it's like she can't find the other portion of the book, but which is kind of interesting. I think that in itself is interesting. And Cleo is starting to read through the book. So what you're getting is you're getting excerpts of this book that her mom wrote as Cleo's reading it, as Cleo's visiting the house. So I love that. I think that's really great. It reminds me of a book that Riley Sager wrote, Home Before Dark, is that the one? Where the father wrote the book, and you get excerpts of the book through the process of what happens when the daughter goes back to the house. So it's very similar, but a different feel. Okay, but I did really love that book, and so far I'm really liking it in this book. So we'll see where it goes from here. So that is just our first update. Okay, just wanted to do another update on Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. So I am 60% of the way through the book, and just some of my thoughts on it. So where we kind of left off the last time, I think we were just talking in general about the situation with her mom, that her mom left the house to the three girls, and just the youngest daughter, Cleo, is the only one who really wants to go. And she really actually is trying to fix up the house with the idea of selling it. But I think what's happening between that, her being in the house, her reading the book finally that her mom wrote, I think that she's beginning to get a better understanding about her mother, and there has been some tension between her and her father. I won't say what that is because that would be a huge spoiler, so I'm not going to say what that is. But that tension is there because part of the issue in the beginning, you realize that she remembers very little about what happened in the house because she was 7, I think, whereas her two sisters remember quite clearly. But she feels like they kind of fed her a story that perhaps was cooked up by her father. And so there's a little bit of that tension going on now, because I don't know if she's sort of beginning to perhaps, like I said, understand her mom a little bit more. So that's kind of where we're at. I've only got, maybe another 100 pages left to read. It's only a 300-page book, so I should finish it tonight. And hopefully I will have an update for you tomorrow on my final thoughts about the book. So far, I'm enjoying it, but I would say that it has developed really slow. So I like the story. I like what's happening, but I would not call this a thriller or a horror. It is almost more women's fiction, which does not negate how much I'm enjoying it, but I just don't feel that it sits in the thriller category. Yeah, there's some shit going on in the house, and there's definitely things that are messed up where that's concerned, but it's not scary. It's more odd things. And so you don't know if some of this stuff is Cleo's imagination or it is actual things happening in the house. There are a couple of things that, you kind of go, okay, that's really weird. But that's kind of it. And the rest of it is more the story about relationships. And that I am really enjoying. She has met someone who lived there and who knew her when she was young. And he was the same age. And of course, she's developed kind of a weird relationship with him. Sexual to a certain point, yes, but it's developing, I think, a little bit beyond that. Maybe it's hard to know with her because she doesn't express her feelings well, and that's clear right from the beginning of the book. all the way through with all three sisters, not just her. I think even her father is a bit like that, but and that kind of comes out, from things that her mother has said. So it's interesting. I'm really, really interested to see how this all ties together at the end with her and her sisters and her father, and even with Austin, the guy who lives there, who she's now sort of got a relationship going with. Yeah, it's really good so far. But again, like one of the other books that I read from Rachel Harrison was Such Sharp Teeth. And that actually had more thrilling tension in it, with the main character thinking she's a werewolf. That, to me, I felt more thrilling and maybe had more horror aspects than this one actually does. But that doesn't mean that this isn't a good book. So there are my thoughts for now. And yeah, we'll continue on as soon as I finish up reading the book. All right, so this is not the most opportune place, but I am just getting ready to head out to run some errands, and I thought I'd do a final check, final update on Play Nice, because I did finish it. Right, I'm just going to say it right here. So my final thoughts on the book. I did enjoy it. I still kind of stick with my opinion that I felt it was more women's fiction than a thriller horror, so to speak. It did have, some slightly thrilling elements, little tiny bit of horror, that kind of thing. But it really was a story about Cleo and her journey to basically find out what had really happened to her mother, the family at this house, even though, I think she kind of used the excuse that she was going to go to the house and she was going to redo it and flip it to sell it, that kind of thing. So I think that, though, what it really was, that she really wanted to know these things, and her digging created a lot of trauma and drama for her and between her and her father, because her mother and her father had an extremely messy divorce. And that's kind of what this is all about. This is about their human relationships and what was caused by them constantly saying nothing happened at the house when something clearly did. So I really did enjoy that part of it. What I didn't kind of enjoy was the fact that I felt that it dragged on a lot with the mental health struggles of Cleo, which I get that, but that's what made the story not a thriller and horror, which is what I expected from it. Like even the tagline on the front says, "Home is where the horror is," right here. So, you kind of expect maybe a little bit more of that. I didn't feel that. The other thing was, there was a love interest for Cleo, Austin. He was a kid who grew up on the street, and he remembered her from when they were kids. And while I thought he was sweet and he was kind of a level, I guess the person who sort of made things kind of not as traumatic for her, I think that messed with the story. So, like, I didn't feel he was necessary. I felt that his interventions really kind of didn't make the story. So anyways, that was just kind of how I felt about it. Like, I know that in the previous book that I read from her, Such Sharp Teeth, that the main female character also had a love interest, but it felt more organic to the story, and this just didn't. So, and this felt almost like the same ploy, like it was, a boy from her from her past and so on. And it was a similar thing. Inside Sharp Teeth was a guy from her past, So, but this was, they were kids previously. Anyways, maybe I'm not explaining myself well, but that kind of just threw me off a little bit. And it was probably the part of the story that I liked the least. What I liked the best was the very end. So the ending where her sisters finally showed up at the house and everything that transpired in that time period, which might have been the last 50 pages of the book, was freaking fantastic. Okay. I loved that part of the book. So that actually elevated it, because up until that, it was about a 3-star, if I'm being honest, 2.5 to 3 stars. But I ended with 3.5 stars, and that was simply because of and the relationships with her and her sisters. That was the best part of the book. Like, that was what I liked the best, but the ending was fantastic. So anyways, those are my thoughts on Play Nice. It was a great book in the sense that I'd recommend it. But if you're looking for like super thriller, super horror, that's not what you're going to get. What you're going to get is a relationship book, and you're going to get Cleo's journey through that relationship. She is the only point of view that you get. So that's kind of how I would view it and how I would recommend it. But I love Rachel Harrison's writing, and I'm looking forward to reading. I think I picked up 1 or 2 other books that are kind of on her backlist, and will definitely be reading them. So, and anything new she comes out with, I will read, because I did enjoy that. So that's it for this part. Now I'm moving on to Famous Last Words. So that'll be the next thing that you're going to see in the video. I am going to start that either tonight or tomorrow night. So it's going to get read very soon, and we'll start chatting about that one. Okay, so on to the next book. And next up is Famous Last Words by Gillian McAllister. That's what I started last night. I am on page 72, chapter 11. So I haven't really gotten that far into it. Far enough, though, to basically give you a rundown. So this is Cam and Luke are the couple. And she is on her first day back to work after maternity leave. Now, she wakes up in the morning and finds that her husband has left already, but he didn't leave a note. He didn't really talk to her before he left. Like, as far as she can recall, he left like very early in the morning. So I think she's a little annoyed about that, because basically she's got to get their 9-month-old daughter ready for nursery school on her own and leave her there for the first time on her own. And so I think she's a little bit uncomfortable with that, and she's a little annoyed with him. Now, he's a writer. He is a ghostwriter, and she is a editor. So that's how they met. And they have been together for 4 years, so it's not like they've only been together a year or anything like that. They've been together quite some time. So she goes to work, and in the meantime, she is attempting to get a hold of him. Now, of course, all of this I think is more or less in the synopsis, but what ends up happening is shortly after she's been at work, I think she's been there about half a day, and there is some sort of thing on the news about a hostage taking. And come to find out, her husband is the one holding 3 people hostage. And it is, I think, where he went to work. I think that's where it's happening. Because he had this office that he would go and he would write there. So he's holding these people hostage. Now, what you're getting is you're getting Cam's point of view. So it's the wife's point of view, but you're also getting the hostage negotiator's point of view, which I think is kind of interesting to have the police point of view in there kind of separately. So I'm actually enjoying that so far. It's not slow. I mean, it's moved along very quickly. We've gotten to the point where They know he's in there. He's got a gun. They know he's got a gun. So now the hostage negotiator is trying to negotiate with him. So that's kind of the point that we're at. And we haven't gone any further in the story. So I'm kind of like, a bit on pins and needles. I actually really want to keep reading, but I was super tired last night and only got 70 pages done. Tonight, I'm hoping to get through, at least another 150 to 200 pages, which should almost finish. I think it's only a 300-page book, so it's not super long. You never know. Maybe I'll finish the book tonight. I'm going to give it a try. So anyways, that's the update so far, and I am obviously enjoying this at this point. Would I say that it's as good as Play Nice or running along those lines? No, I think I'm actually enjoying this a little bit more than I did Play Nice, but we'll see where it goes from here. Okay, so I finished Famous Last Words. I don't know when I did my last update, if it was after the first 70 pages. I think, I'm not really 100% sure. I'm just going to summarize basically the whole thing. I know I did the first 70 pages, and basically the first 70 pages was where we kind of got to the end of the actual siege and where it happened in here. So that was a little odd because it was like all of the action basically ended in the first 70 pages, and I'm like, what the hell is up with that? So like the first 70 pages, 5-star for me. So then what happened was we kind of got to the middle section, and the middle section slowed down, and it was 7 years later. So I found that a bit odd. The other thing I found out is like at 7 years later and no sign of this guy, people are still following around. The police decide they're still following around. I mean, it was a bit ridiculous. So it was kind of hard to get that, she was just, Cam got to a point where she was, I think she was kind of at the crossroads and ready to move on. She was trying to go through the process of declaring him dead, Luke dead, so that she could sell the house and move. So kind of like in her mind, I think the whole thing was just her moving on to the next thing. I understood that part, but I did feel that kind of slowed down a little bit. And then we got to the end part, and at the end, I kind of, I liked it a little bit better. So again, the pace picked up a bit. Now what happened is we're still getting the points of view of Neil, who is the investigator. He's the guy who, the hostage negotiator. So we're still getting his points of view in here, even though it's 7 years later, which I thought was really great because it did develop his character quite a bit. And he is quite more involved as things evolve towards the end, because towards the end you find out exactly what happens. While I'm giving spoilers away for this, I'm not going to say exactly what happened at the very end, because that would give away the whole book, and I'm not going to do that. I am going to say, though, that basically gave it 4 stars. And one of the reasons that I gave it 4 stars was because I found there were certain aspects in the book that were easy to guess. Okay? Like there's a cop who is married to Isabella, who is the woman who is being held hostage, but she's released. Something about him smelled fishy to me. Okay, there's something that happens to Cam in that 7 years that I knew was important, and I knew it was Luke who was involved in that. So, that was easy to guess. So there were certain things about it. Yeah, like even Charlie, who's a guy that she meets at that 7 year, like in the second part of her life, who you kind of go, something about him feels off. So that's the most I'm going to give away on that, okay? So overall, those things kind of bothered me a little bit about the book, but I still enjoyed the story very much. So, it was a 4-star read for me because it kept me engaged through the whole book. I liked the characters. I liked the plot. My thing would have been, I think it hit this. I think she went with 7 years because technically by UK law, because this is in the UK, technically by UK law, she had to wait 7 years before she could declare him dead. And that was kind of part of the storyline. So I do kind of get that, but I actually would have preferred if the time frame was shorter and maybe she had written it just a little bit different. Because I thought 7 years was just hard to swallow. So that's Famous Last Words. Now, I wasn't going to include Dissolution in the group with this book, but I have decided I'm going to do it. I have started it already. I've through the first 25 pages, and I am like, okay, this is weird. Very weird. I'm enjoying it. Don't get me wrong. Loving every bit of it, and I can't wait to kind of dig into what's going on. So basically, the very beginning of the book, first chapter, is Maggie, who is 80-plus-year-old woman, and her husband is in a facility with Alzheimer's, and it's like in a dream sequence almost that she's talking to this guy, Hassan, and there's like a timestamp and everything like that. So it's very bizarre. I'm not far enough into it at all to catch what's going on. I have a feeling what's going on, but I don't know where Maggie's husband is involved, why Hassan is interviewing her. Very weird. So I'm actually really looking forward to continuing on with that and seeing where that goes. So that's going to be the next thing. Sorry, I'm just in the middle of my computer. I'm actually getting ready to film another video. So I thought, well, I'll do the Famous Last Words update, which I'm sorry because I think I skipped the middle part. But the middle part, really, there wasn't all that much on Famous Last Words. Yeah, it was more beginning of the book, end of the book. So like the 100 pages, kind of 100 pages in the middle, kind of dragged through there. So anyway, the ending was the best part, but I don't want to give too much away. But the ending was like really, really, really good. And everything that happened with Luke was really, really good. And why he did what he did obviously came to light, because that's the whole idea, is to find out why he did what he did at the beginning of the book, why he held these guys hostage, why he shot them. You learn all of it. You learn who these guys are. Okay, that's a little giveaway because at the beginning of the book, the police can't figure out who they are. All of a sudden now, they know they can figure out who they are, and there's a reason for that, which was actually a really good twist, you know. And when it came to light, I was like, yeah, freaking knew it. Okay, that's enough for me at this one. So I will see you with the next update on Dissolution. All right, so just quick update. Yes, everything's a mess because I'm pulling all of my shelves apart and we're doing a full library reorganization. You'll be getting those videos coming shortly. This is just an update on Dissolution, as I did mention that I had started that. So I am about 102 pages in, I think, as of right now. And I'm going to be honest, I got about 50 pages and was like, maybe I'm going to end up DNFing this. So what you have is you have like a present and past kind of thing. but it's not like a normal book with normal chapters. So the present tense is in a question and answer type format. And it's Maggie, and she is the 80-plus-year-old wife of Daniel, who is in a care facility with Alzheimer's. And in this interview, there's a countdown timer. So she is trying to recall certain details to give to this guy, Hassan, who is asking her all of the questions. And then the past tense chapters are Daniel at a very, very young age. So I think it could be 13, 14, okay, where he starts at. The way that the chapters are written, they're obviously from Daniel's point of view, but not from a 13, 14-year-old's point of view. A little bit, but yeah, I found it a little odd until we moved into him at the older age, I think of about 18, 19. So that's kind of where that left off. And there is a point where it would seem that what is happening in the future is colliding with what happened to him in the past. So that is kind of where I left off at. I do find the past chapters incredibly boring. Incredibly, until like this last past chapter that I just read, because that's where something triggers him and something happens. So that's kind of where that's at. So now the story is much more interesting. I am going to continue on. I'm hoping to get the rest of the book. It's like almost a 400-page book, I think, and I am hoping to get it done over the next 2 evenings. But right now it's like a 3-star read. So it's kind of sitting at that point. If I continue on and I don't feel that it's lifting too much past that, I might still DNF it. So I'm going to give it another 50 pages and see how it goes. If you get me again the next time, it's either going to be because I continued past those 50 pages or because I DNF'd the book. So that's kind of where we're at right now with it. And yeah, we're just going to kind of leave it there. And hopefully we will see where it kind of goes. Okay? All right, so that's it for me for now. And we'll see you in the next update. I don't know about this whole vlogging thing. I don't know if it's for me. I'm going to be honest with you. I find it difficult to find the time to do the vlogging updates because I have so many things on the go between my regular business and with the actual YouTube videos that I am normally doing. And then on top of all that, trying to reorganize and get my library up to speed perfectly. So yeah, anyway, we'll see how this goes. I may only do in the future 1 book per vlog. Yeah, I don't know. We will see. We'll see. Anyways, that's it for now, and we'll see you in the next update. Okay, so just another quick update. I am 53% through Dissolution at this point, and I'm enjoying it. Now, things have kind of taken a turn, become a bit more sinister. Now, I think previously I had mentioned that the husband's name was Daniel. It's actually Stanley. It's Maggie and Stanley are the couple, and the other main character is Hassan. Now, there are a couple of other key characters in the book, Raph and Jacques, who are friends of Stanley's when they were younger and in school. And they are kind of key to whatever is happening with Stanley in relation to the whole time travel thing, that's kind of what it seems that it is, that they're talking about time travel. I thought it was like in relation to, like, I thought it was a memory brain thing. And I do think it might be kind of both at this point. It's not 100% clear what exactly is going on. I think that it's going to come to light probably, I would say, at some point within the next 100 pages of exactly why Maggie's in the position she's in and what it is that Stanley was hiding, all that sort of thing. So it's getting interesting now. The one thing I will say about the book is it is very slow, like very slow. It took me up to like 150 pages to really get the feel for what was going on in the story. So it's a little slow for me on how I would usually like a book like this to come about. Like I think I mentioned in the last update that I think that some of the stuff with Stanley at the beginning could have been shortened a little. I don't think that it needed to be quite as lengthy as it was, just my opinion, because that stuff was boring. It was boring, okay? That was what made me almost DNF the book, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, because the sections with Maggie where she's in a question, like a question answer comment, like Hassan is talking and then Maggie is like in some sort of dream state and answering back on what's occurring. So that's interesting. And then as soon as you flip to the Stanley chapters, it's like, what the hell? Snooze fest. So we've now gotten to a point where the Stanley chapter is a little bit more interesting. So now everything's more interesting. So see how it goes. 53%. I'm planning to finish the book today, and then I'll give you the final update, and that will be my first vlog, finished and done, and we'll see how it goes. Okay? Yeah, so that's it for me for now. This should be fine. I'm just making my morning coffee, so I'm going to do that while I give you an update on I finished Dissolution, so it is all done, and I gave it a pretty good rating, I think. It actually turned out to be much better. I would say it was really, really slow up to about page 200, and then from 200 onwards, it sped up quite quickly. The only real complaint I had once we kind of got into the last few pages is that certain aspects of the book became a bit confusing, because we were dealing with two things. Now, I don't want to give it away, okay? This is where I'm going to try to not give spoilers, so that once we get past halfway and we get towards the end, not going to tell you what happened, but essentially by the time you get to halfway through the book, you are working with two timelines, okay, kind of present and past, which is in around from 1955 to 1967. That's the range, right? So you're also working with two different kind of ideas going on. And then, of course, there are two characters. There's Stanley, who is Maggie's husband, and there's Jacques, who was his friend from when he was young. And they come to heads. That it's like something happens. I will say there are certain aspects of that relationship that I had sort of guessed how it was going to be. And I also did think that, that part was a little bit predictable, but not 100%. And that it just, how he wrapped it up at the end was brilliant. Okay. Like that, like, wow, that part, fantastic. So the ending really pushed it into what I would consider to be my favorite read area, which is 3 stars and up. Those are the reads that I enjoy, but you know, there's certain things about the books that are off. Now, as I said, the first half of this book is like so slow. Okay, you have to persevere through the first half of the book, and like it picks up and it picks up and it picks up, and then bam, you hit the middle and it's like a whirlwind through to the end, right? So honestly, I would recommend it for anybody who kind of likes that speculative sci-fi. It has a bit of the idea of time travel mixed with memory, that sort of thing. Yeah, just, it was so great. Now, so that's kind of it. All 3 books are done. And what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to sort of my conclusion on all 3 books and where we're going to go from here with the vlogs. Okay, so sorry, I had to set up the second half to go, and I didn't want to do that with you still on with me because it's like it's noisy and it's a pain in the neck. Okay, so essentially, Play Nice, 3.5 stars. That's the first book I read for the vlog. Famous Last Words, that was 4 stars. That was a little bit better because it was pretty fast from beginning to end. Then, this one, Dissolution, by Nicholas Binge, another 3.5 stars. So overall, I think I had a pretty clear, steady read from the 3. Obviously, no 5 stars in there. It was funny because the very first book I read for the month was Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun, and that was 5 star for me, which of course will be in my review, and we'll talk about it then, but it's the only one so far. But I am moving on to now the next vlog that I'm going to be doing for you, which will be The Gates of the Pharaoh Gods by Matt Dinniman. It's part of the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. And I think the 4th book, Cibola Burn, in the Expanse series. So I'm going to be doing those 2, putting those 2 in a vlog together. And I'm going to predict it's going to be a 100% 5-star vlog. Both books. Right? So we shall see. Okay? Yep, so that's it for me. I did forget to record the intro for this, so I am going to do that shortly, and we'll get that done because I do want to make sure that, you know what's happening right from the beginning of the video. It's probably redundant to say it now because we're at the end, but I appreciate you watching, and 100% I need your comments on what did you like about the vlog that I did, what didn't you like about it, do you like this sort of thing, because the idea is that I am not going to review these books extensively when we get to the end of the month. I'm only going to review the ones that I did not vlog. So let me know what you think of that idea. And yeah, so that's it for this one, and we'll see you in the next video.